Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of A Little Bit Unglamorous, and I am in a sluggish mood. It's only Monday, it's daylight savings, so if you're in a state that participates in daylight savings, we just lost an hour and I feel like I've been catching up all day. The day dragged on and it wasn't even that bad of a Monday. It's just I had to peel myself off of the couch to get up and do the podcast, but I am so excited to do it because I have some notes and I have a drink with me as well because, you know what, it's only Monday, but why not? First things first, you have to check out these nails because I worked so hard on them and I'm the most proud of these nails pretty much of almost any nails I've ever done. So let's just take a minute. St. Patty's Day, I saw this influencer on Instagram and I always take her nail inspo and try to add my own spin on them. But the white part of these checkers are supposed to have little sparkles, but you can't really see them except really to the naked eye. They don't come off on camera very well, but a moment for the nails. And first thing, well, that was the first thing. Second, we got to talk about Miss Ariana Grande because she dropped a brand new album, and I know that she has been a hot topic lately in the tabloids. First of all, the set of Wicked just wrapped, I believe, and it's slated to come out. See what I did there? Slated to come out in 2024, and I'm actually really excited to see it. Fun fact, I love the music from Wicked. The original, well, not the original, but my Glenda, Kristen Chenoweth, I love her so much. I grew up singing the songs, but funny enough, I've actually never seen the musical, which is kind of funny, but I'm actually really excited to see the Wicked movie coming out, and I heard that it was supposed to be a two-parter, which I don't know how I feel about that. If a movie is longer than 2 hours for me, I don't care if I love the movie and I'm really excited to see it. My attention span just starts to plummet, and I feel like I'm not the only one, so I don't know about the whole two-part thing. I know with Harry Potter, they tried to do that on, the last movie? Same thing with the Hunger Games, and it always cuts off in an awkward part, and you're wanting more, but then by the time the next movie is released, you're kind of over it, so I'm still excited to see it. But today we are talking about Miss Ariana Grande's new album called Eternal Sunshine, and she announced this at the height of her being heavily scrutinized by the media for her personal life. And first of all, this album, chef's kiss, amazing. Hats off to you, girl. I've been streaming this album over and over and over again for the last day, which is not very hard to do because the entire run span of the album's only about 30 minutes long. But I think it's a very cohesive album. I really enjoy the interludes. People are, of course, scrutinizing the lyrics, going through them with a fine-tooth comb, and trying to find out anything they can about her personal life. Of course, any artist does draw from their personal lives, but first of all, the music video. So she dropped a music video, I believe, the other day, and it's for her second single on the album called We Can't Be Friends. And first of all, I watched this music video so many times. I thought the plot of the video was amazing. It really pulls out those feelings. She also got Evan Peters to be the male lead in the music video, and I watched it the first time. I was like, that kind of looks like Evan Peters. And then I kept seeing him in different clips. Is it just me, or does he look different in every single clip of the video? I almost thought he was different people at first, but he's very famous for being in American Horror Story, and he dated Emma Roberts for a very long time. And I just really love this music video concept. It's supposedly based off of a movie called Eternal Sunshine, which I've personally never seen, but the concept of the movie and also the music video is two people, I don't know whether they are in a relationship or not, but at least in the music video, obviously, that is the premise. So in the beginning of the music video, Ariana Grande is seen sitting in a doctor's office waiting room, and she is waiting to sign her release forms to go into this doctor's office. And the camera pans on the form that she is waiting to sign, and she reads it very slowly, and it's basically giving the office permission to erase somebody completely from your mind. And the whole concept of the music video is she's eradicating her mind of all of these memories, and the memories are playing across the screen of her and Evan Peters, who's the male lead. And at the very end of the video, you see them walking past one another with different people and not even recognizing who each other are, which I feel like is an amazing metaphor for life, because you get to know some people very well and then suddenly they're not in your life anymore, and it's like you almost never even met. And I've been watching it over and over as well. I just think this song is such a good one. The whole album's very cohesive, like I said. I immediately kind of, the album almost reminds me a little bit, in a way, of Taylor Swift's Folklore and Evermore. In the sense that it's very easy to listen to. Granted, the vibe of this album's more of a soft pop, and Taylor Swift's, those two albums from Taylor Swift are more of folk music, but I find it very easy to listen to while you're working. It's not too chaotic of music to have in the background. You can really hone in on the lyrics, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much, which it always surprises me when I meet Swifties that dislike Evermore and Folklore, because I wouldn't pick them out. If somebody asked me what's your favorite album, I would not pick either of those two. But if you go to my listening history, I'm fairly certain that those two are the top albums, just because they're so easy to listen to. You can play them in the background while you're just doing monotonous things, or if you really need to focus. It's not music that will easily distract you. Granted, there's a time and a place for everything. I love me a good pop bop as much as the next person, but I just found this album very therapeutic. I really enjoyed the lyrics, and I'm going to delve into it a little more. So hats off to you, Ariana Grande. I'll give it to her. She is an artist. She is talented. Her voice, oh my gosh, I think she performed her new song, We Can't Be Friends, on Saturday Night Live, and she had the whole set behind her because in the music video she's in this house, and to represent time passing by, you see the house changing all around her, the decorations changing. She goes from sitting next to her boyfriend to this dog, and she kind of had that in the SNL skit as well, her in the house, and then it's raining and all the special effects, and the performance was a really good one. And side note, I'm not really sure if this was for the Oscars. I'm fairly certain it is, because the Oscars was the other night as well. Didn't watch it, but I did see this clip right before I started filming, and I thought that it was really sweet. It was a clip of Ariana Grande's bodyguards, and I think right before she was going to come out of wherever she was at, there's a whole line of people waiting for her, right? And the bodyguard is saying, "Hey, I have an announcement. Are you guys fans of Ariana Grande?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, of course, we love her." And he says, "Okay, don't bring up her ex." And everybody's like, no, we wouldn't. And I thought that was like a pretty wholesome moment that, you know, her guard said that, and everybody was like, "No, we're fans of her. We would never." But yeah, that was something notable that I saw right before I started filming, and I thought it was pretty sweet. So the Oscars were the other night. Like I said, I didn't watch it at all. I did see a few clips online, though. Really, the only thing that I saw online was Ryan Gosling, and I knew this was announced a while ago, but he performed I'm Just Ken at the Oscars. And so that was a big hit song from the Barbie movie. Ken had this whole dance sequence with all of the Kens, and he had his own song that he actually performed and recorded. And so he did that at the Oscars, and I saw clips of it online, and I thought that he nailed it. It was so funny. He's actually a pretty good singer as well. But so the clips start out, he's sitting in the audience, and I think it's pretty funny because he is sitting right behind Margot Robbie before he starts singing. He's in this two-piece suit that's Barbie pink and sparkly, sunglasses on, and he's got the microphone, and he starts the song singing right next to Margot Robbie, and she's trying to hold in her laughter because he's so funny. And I just have to note that in addition to the pink ensemble, he had pink leather gloves, and most notably, he had a nice watch that was over the gloves, which I don't know if that's a fashion faux pas or not. I remember one time somebody I knew that was a watch person clocked me for having my watch over my sweater. Apparently that's a no-no, but I mean, if your sweater has long sleeves and you want to wear the watch and show it off, but it just made me think of that. But he killed it, and that was really the only thing that I heard from the Oscars. Maybe I'll go back and watch it, but I'm getting a little over all these award shows. Like I said, I spent almost all day watching, the Grammys. The Grammys aired. I spent, first of all, money to watch it because I didn't have the channel, and second, all day with all of the Grammys pre-carpet and the red carpet and the awards and the after show. So I'm kind of glad that I skipped all that with the Oscars. But I did see a clip of Miss Northwest. I think she has been very often going on tour with her dad, and she'll be at performances, and that was a horn honking in the background. But I saw a clip of her, and she has announced her debut album, and it's been met with some skepticism, rightfully so. How old is Northwest? Is she double digits yet? Yeah, she has to be. She's probably, I don't even want to throw out an age because I have no idea, 12? Maybe younger than that. But so people were a little up in arms, not just because she's dropping an album, but because of the name of the album. It's called Elementary School Dropout. And I get the shock factor that, with album titles that you want. But obviously, as a kid, promoting kids to drop out of school, people were they didn't know how to feel about that. I don't really know how to feel about that either. I'm intrigued by this album. Do I think that Miss Northwest wrote the album? No. Do I think that she helped produce it in any manner? No. It's completely nepotism at its finest. I remember there's a clip of Kanye West somewhere. I don't know if it's on, I think it's in an interview, and because she just made her rapping debut in one of his new songs, and she coined her rapper name as Miss Westie, and Kanye was in an interview that basically said that she threw a complete tantrum in order to record with his song or be on his song. And yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely gonna give it a listen, but do I think that she's the next up and coming rapper? Time will tell. She is really young, so she has all of the tools to utilize at her fingertips to hone in on her art if that is what she chooses and wants to do. So I feel like if she really wants to run with it, she definitely can, and she probably could become really good because, I mean, when you have all the tools right in front of you, that's nepotism, baby. So speaking of singers, we're going to move on to Miss Madonna, a more iconic musician. I've actually seen a few clips of her on tour right now, and one of them I think everybody has seen. It was kind of funny only because she got up and laughed right after. Nothing bad happened, but she was performing on tour, and there's this one segment where I think her dancer brings a chair or drags the chair. I don't know if they were dragging her on the chair, but the dancer is walking, and I think she's sitting on the chair, and the dancer trips and falls and pulls Madonna down with her, and Madonna rolls over on the floor, and she's kind of like rolling seductively and still singing because it's during the part while she's singing. I thought that was pretty funny, but I saw this recent clip. It's pretty cringeworthy, I'm not gonna lie, and the worst part is how she responds to a mistake she realizes she's made. So the clip of Madonna is her pointing somebody out in the audience and saying, "Hey, you, why are you sitting down?" To kind of, first of all, if I'm at a concert and my feet are tired and I want to sit down for a second, I'm going to sit down for a second, you know? It kind of reminds me of, God, who was that country singer? The blonde one. I can't remember her name. And she was, we were scrutinizing her on the podcast quite a long time ago, but she did something very uncouth like that as well. But her name fails me. Miranda Lambert. But anyway, Madonna points out this person in the crowd and says, "Hey, you, why are you sitting? Why are you sitting down?" And then it's silent. Not dead silent, but, you know, and she's looking at this person in the audience and realizes they're in a wheelchair. And first of all, in that moment, oh my God, like, abort. She not only doesn't say like, "Oh, my bad, I'm so sorry, thank you so much for being here," or something like that. She says, "Oops, that's politically not correct," and then turns around and keeps doing her set. And first of all, oh my God, like, what a grave mistake to make. Second, that was the worst response to a mistake you realize that you made. Kind of poking fun at this fan, this disabled fan that showed up to her performance. First of all, saying, "Why aren't you standing?" Second, realizing they're disabled and not taking back what you said, taking accountability for it. If I was that fan, I would feel so embarrassed. Unrightfully so, because why should I feel embarrassed for my disability? But to point somebody out like that in the audience, like, it just makes me feel some kind of way. Kind of the same thing with Miranda Lambert. Oh, I remember now. Miranda Lambert, she pointed out two girls in front of her concert that were taking a selfie. And I disagree with that also, because if I'm paying however much money, hundreds, some people pay thousands of dollars for these concert tickets, and that's not even including flight, food, hotel accommodations, and to have the person that I love, that I paid all this money to see, berate me in front of everybody because I'm having such a great time and I want to document it and take a selfie, let me take the selfie. So that rubbed me the wrong way, and then, yeah, this is it's a bad look for Madonna. Okay, so on a more serious note, I want to talk about Drake Bell. Drake Bell was a famous Nickelodeon child actor. He became popular on the Nickelodeon show Drake and Josh. I listen to Josh's, he has a podcast called The Good Guys. I listen to it occasionally now, and he's actually very active on YouTube these days. And so I follow him occasionally. And Drake Bell kind of fell off the radar for a bit. You didn't really hear much from him. He kind of emerged into the spotlight a little bit again. He married and had a child, and he's been heavily scrutinized lately for his personal life. I know he's had a rocky road. If you look at him, he kind of looks like he's just going through it. And, you know, part of you feels really bad for him, and the other part of you is a little uncomfortable by allegations that have been brought forth toward him. Him personally, him and minors and things like that. But there is this new documentary coming out, I think it's on the ID channel. It hasn't come out yet to my knowledge, but I think it's supposed to come out fairly soon at the end of March. And so there are these new allegations stemming around child actors and, you know, all of that darkness. This conversation about child acting and how young is too young, and kind of the dark side of having your kid around all of these adults that maybe aren't wanting the best thing for your child, if you get what I'm putting down. So there's this new documentary on the ID channel, ID network, and it's an interview, and it's a interview teaser that is basically talking to a bunch of producers that used to work on the Nickelodeon shows, saying that there is abuse allegations toward one of their producers and a child actor on their shows. And the people being interviewed are saying, it's not somebody on one of our shows, was it? And the interviewer clarifies, yes, somebody who was working on your show was allegedly abused by a producer who was also working on your show. Now, it's very well known who this producer was. I'll just throw his name out there because why not? Brian Peck, and no relation to Josh Peck, by the way. It's just a coincidence. Josh Peck was his co-star. At first I was like, oh my god, is that his dad? But no relation. It's just a producer that was on the show. Drake and Josh, I believe he was also involved with the Amanda Show and a couple of other Nickelodeon shows like that. And so people are very shocked in this preview of the documentary, and the documentary preview ends with a shadowy figure coming to the chair, sitting down, and you see at the very last minute that it's Drake Bell. And I feel like behind the scenes, people have known for a while that there were some alleged things that were rumored to have happened on set. So for, I guess, some people, it wasn't a big surprise that this came to light. But personally, I'm glad that, you know, more child actors are coming forward. And I'm so sorry for this car alarm that happens to be beeping in the background right now. But a lot of child actors are coming forward and talking about stuff like this. Like Jeanette McCurdy talked a lot about her trials and tribulations she had as a child actor. It poses the question, what is the price of fame? What is the price of fame for your child? I mean, I'm sure any parent would never in a million years put their child in that situation if they thought something as dark as that would happen to them. But I think the documentary is going to be very interesting. I'm very interested to see what Drake Bell says. I know people have mixed feelings about it because he's had his own abuse allegations brought forth towards him as well. So it kind of makes sense with the whole cycle of abuse. But I don't know. I feel like something is definitely up, because you see so many child actors just want nothing to do with the limelight anymore. Look at Amanda Bynes. She very publicly she was straight and narrow, and she's had her own mental health struggles as well, and she looks to be like she is trying to pick back up and just have a happy life outside of the chaos and not be in the spotlight. I think she's getting her manicurist license, and she's doing videos on Cameo, and low-key I would totally pay $100 to have Amanda Bynes send me a personal video because I love Amanda Bynes. This is I'm getting off track here, but I have to say something that just reminded me of. I saw something online about a couple that whenever they would fight, they would pay a D-list celebrity on Cameo. So if you're not familiar with Cameo, it's like an app that any celebrity can be on, and they charge people for personalized video messages. So you can say, hey, Amanda Bynes, it's my birthday. Or my girlfriend's birthday, can you wish her happy birthday? And you pay her money. And Amanda Bynes will make this video and say, hey, Erica, happy birthday. So-and-so told me that you like this and blah, 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 and you're doing this, so I want to wish you the best. And they'll just send you like a couple-minute video. I saw something online where a couple, whenever they would argue, they would pay a D-list celebrity to make a Cameo video for them arguing their point. And I thought that was really, really hilarious, but I digress. So looping back to the whole Drake Bell thing, I know he's had a very rocky last few years. I saw just the most random thing about him, that he disappeared from the limelight and is just living in Mexico, speaking Spanish very fluently, I might add. And he remarketed himself as Drake Campana, Bell in Spanish. So yeah, just super random. But anyway, looping back to the whole ID documentary, I think it'll be very interesting. I think it's a very brave thing for him to come out and speak on it. Now he's a grown adult. He was a teenager at this time. It's another heavy, interesting one, because last week I was talking about the Wendy Williams documentary and the ethics behind that. Did she completely consent to wanting to be seen in this manner? Because I know if I was not in right mind and I was, doing things I feel like I would not want the general public to remember me as, I wouldn't want that to be out there. So this is another heavy one, but I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation to start. So I'm going to tune in and check it out. I'm definitely interested to see what they bring to light. In other news, I feel like targeted marketing for ads is really listening to my phone history and stuff lately, because I swear the other day I was watching YouTube. And you know how once you finish one video, the random player just keeps playing random videos? One of the things that came up, I think because I was going down this child actor rabbit hole, and one of the things that came up was the fact that Nickelodeon Studios, who remembers back in the day when they would do the slime and all that stuff, the studios is in Orlando, Florida. And one of the YouTube videos that came up after when I was watching was all about how that how that Nickelodeon studio is still there, but it's abandoned. And if you know Nickelodeon, you know the bright orange and just very loud. And apparently they had everything decorated, walls painted with a Ren and Stimpy and all of their popular shows. And it was just a very loud working environment. And apparently it remains untouched there, which I think is very fascinating. So it's kind of like a time capsule. Moving on to the bread and butter of the pod episode, we're talking about 90 Day Fiancé. You already know, another tell-all, and lucky you, I had nothing to do the other day, and I decided 90 Day Fiancé, tell-all, this is what we're doing. So part one, I only watched part one, and I actually think that I missed ironically, maybe the last 5-10 minutes of the tell-all, so forgive me if I missed something big, but I will I'll be back next week, so if I do, I can touch on it then. First of all, my first note on this, Nick and Jessica Lachey. Oh my God, this Freudian slip. I feel like such a piece of shit, because if anybody ever did that to me, I would rage. Nick, and I even have it in my notes wrong. Nick and Vanessa Lachey, they need to take note of this presenter. Her name is Sean. I think she's done every 90-day tell-all, and she is just on point. She always has all the right questions to ask, what the audience wants to know. She keeps everybody in line if they're losing their mind, having a mental breakdown, running it off stage, about to fight one another. Somehow she reels it all back in, and she does a great job with every tell-all. So Nick and Vanessa, take note. This is how a reality show is supposed to be done. So I want to do a quick run through of all of my favorite couples and their problems. First of all, Nikki Exotica. It's her stage name, but Nikki. She is this gorgeous, over-the-top, she looks like a real-life Barbie. And she's dating this man from, Moldova. And his name is Igor, but she has appropriately renamed him Justin. And I guess he just ran with it because he goes by Justin now. And so she shows up in this big, poofy Barbie dress. She looks phenomenal. And their big issue, which is a very big issue, might I add, that's been a recurring theme throughout their whole relationship, is basically she comes out as trans, but she doesn't tell him she's trans until they're in an argument years into their relationship. First of all, the amount of mental, that's wrong. First of all, that's wrong. But moving past that, so even after finding all this out, he is still wanting to be with her. He's clearly interested in her. They have been together some insane amount of time, like on and off for 15 years. Can you imagine dating somebody on and off for 15 years? Like, okay, either they know if they like you by then, okay? You got to move on, because then that's a lot of time to be wasted, you know? But of course, after he finds this out about her, he gets all weirded out, and she's wondering, hey, like, why don't you want to be with me in that way? Like, I feel like after you found that out, suddenly you're kind of shying away from me. And obviously that's the case, but for some reason he keeps drawing her back in, and part of me feels like it's because maybe she gives him money. On the show, she said she helped him pay for his nose job, and I mean, she takes a lot of time out of her personal life to fly all the way to Moldova and spend months with him. So her music career must be doing very well for her to be able to do that. So yeah, it's really weird. I feel like they broke up during the show, got back together, and then supposedly right before the tell-all, the night before, he calls her and says, hey, I want to break up. And then at the tell-all, right when they start, he says, oh, babe, you look so gorgeous. And she was crying right before the show started because he just dumped her. So it's just this weird, they're both messing with each other's minds. It's so, those are some problems that I don't think that can be helped. Anyway, I love Nikki. I think she's amazing. Girl, you deserve somebody that wants you. You deserve better. I love Nikki. I just want to say I'm a Nikki stan. Moving on to Ashley and Manuel. I think Manuel's from Ecuador. So he is coming to America to live with Ashley, who is a self-proclaimed witch. A modern day witch. Does spells and stuff like that. And yeah, they really play up the witch thing for her. Like, she pulls out the tarot cards and brings the sage to the tell-all, and it's all a little much. I don't know if that's actually her or if it's the show trying to play that up, but it kind of makes her look a little. So she's this African American woman. I'm pretty certain she was born and raised in America. I just want to say she speaks amazing Spanish, with an American accent for sure. But props to her. She has a whole relationship with this man who, I think he speaks a little bit of English, but she's on the show. Full conversation. She's definitely fluent, so I'm impressed by that. But so he comes to America to live with her, and like a lot of people in countries a lot of people who have family in third world countries send money back to their families. That's very much their culture. With Manuel, I think where he went wrong is he is very secretive, like with his phone and who he's talking to, and the show kind of alludes to the fact that he's doing something nefarious, that he's doing something he shouldn't be doing. And anyway, so he is on the tell-all, him and Ashley, and they bring her mom and sister on, and the mom and sister are basically saying they don't trust him. And I think it's really commendable that another one of the couples, Jasmine, she is a Latin American woman, and she chimes in to kind of shed a little bit of light, bring her perspective, which I thought was really important because it did kind of, make you have a little bit of empathy for Manuel. Yes, he went about things in a weird way, but in her words, growing up in a third world country, you feel guilty. You feel guilty. Now she lives in America. You feel guilty for having all these things and your family doesn't. And you kind of never get past that guilt. And that kind of put it into perspective, I think, for viewers and also the mom and the sister. I mean, it doesn't completely forgive everything he did, but it kind of gives you some sort of insight on his thought process. But, I mean, they were not my favorite couple, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, they weren't the most interesting, I'll say. Everybody, I think I kind of snubbed one of the couples on Love is Blind, and I think it's funny because in the end, I think they were the only couple that ended up getting married, and I mean, they were probably boring on the show because they'll probably last, let's be honest, but I'm only watching for the drama. I love the people that are chaotic and messy, so hey, maybe they'll last because they're really not that chaotic and messy. I also want to say about Manuel, I really liked about him. Somebody straight up asked him and said, how do you feel about Ashley being a witch or describing herself as a witch? Which is a interesting question, and you can tell that he doesn't believe in all the stuff that she does, but he must really love her, so he entertains it. And I think the way he answered it was actually very respectful. And because somebody said, what do you say if Ashley wants to sage you and whatever? Do you feel like it actually works? And he said, with all things, I feel like if you put energy into it and you believe in it, then it works. Sophie and Rob. Sophie is this adorable, I'm pretty certain she's 23. She was blonde on the show, on the tell-all. She dyed her hair. She went back to brunette. She looks amazing. She looked so cute in this navy blue jumpsuit. Killed it. She is from the UK, I believe, and she moved to America to live in a studio apartment with her boyfriend Rob. A studio apartment that doesn't have a bathroom in it. The bathroom's outside. And their huge thing was basically that. Also, he was texting and sexting random girls throughout their entire relationship and engagement, which I would say is also a big problem to have. But so she came out to America, brought her mom with her, and her mom from day one was calling it as it is and saying, he's bringing you to live here in this not even one bedroom, this studio apartment with it had no all of his clothes were everywhere, no bathroom in it. Who in their right mind says, oh, hey, babe, give up everything, move across the continent for me, and live in this shack. I mean, maybe wait a little bit until you're up on your feet before you bring somebody over. Also, I'm fairly certain he has to fully support her while she is getting her visa. So clearly you're not in the right financial state to do that. So their whole thing, it's just so weird because she just seems so level-headed and sweet. She's gorgeous too. And he just does this outrageous stuff, and she always, just wants him to apologize and is so quick to want to forgive him and willing to forgive him. And he's just sitting here like, no, I did nothing wrong. I don't know what you want me to say. And she's just like, why won't you apologize? And I'm like, yeah, why won't he? She is. So fast forward to the tell-all. It doesn't appear like they've worked on any of their issues. He doesn't want to take accountability for anything, gaslights her, and she is just like, well, I feel like she has this I can fix him mentality and doesn't see it how it is, and she's so young and cute, and it's a shame, and I feel like she deserves better because she keeps saying, yeah, the reason why my mom doesn't like Rob is because if he treated me well, she would like him. And one of the other cast members is like, girl, what are you saying then? He doesn't treat you, you just said in your own words, he doesn't treat you well. So, also, he was asking girls for naked photos online more than one time, multiple times. Like, what? Okay. I feel like I have a lot more couples to talk about than I did in Love is Blind. There weren't that many in Love is Blind, but everybody is interesting this this season in 90 Day. I feel like the season of 90 Day was top-notch drama. So next I want to talk about Sam and Citra. Sam is an American boy. He's all tatted up. Citra is this cute girl, I believe, from the Philippines. And their whole plot line was, Sam is this reformed man. He's had legal troubles. I think he used to be an addict. Citra just looks like this smart, really pretty girl. And her dad used to be a cop, so a huge episode for them was her basically having to translate for Sam to tell her dad that he used to be addicted to drugs, and now please let me move your daughter to America with me. Oh, and I might actually be going to jail too after she moves there. So then she's just gonna have to, be deported back because he's in jail. I have no idea what came of that. That's probably on the last part of the tell-all that I missed, because I know they were gonna ask him that question, but he was at the tell-all, so maybe that leads me to believe he isn't going to jail. But anyway, also she's pregnant now. Spoiler alert. I mean, the tell-all's been out for a little bit, but yeah. So I can't put my finger on it, but he just gives me creepy vibes. Devin and Nick. Nick? Yep, that's his name. Nick is from South Korea. Devin's from the Midwest somewhere. And, yeah, so I'm not a fan of him. I'm just gonna start there. I understand cultural differences and things that may or may not be rude in different cultures and not understanding that. So their thing, his nickname for her is Piggy. Piggy, yes. And his excuse was, oh, it's endearing, it's not rude in South Korea to call people fat. It's like a joke. And so even once he gets to America and people explain to him, hey, you don't really do that here, especially to your girlfriend. You don't call her a piggy, okay? And on the tell-all, he's asked, do you still call her that? And he says, yes. And I just feel like every time the camera pans on her throughout the entire series and also the tell-all, she looks so sad. like, she doesn't look happy. She looks stressed. You can tell she's an introvert because, you know, she doesn't really talk to the camera very much, give her side of the story very much, stand up for herself very much. But so he moves from South Korea to America to live with her in the Midwest. I believe that's where they're living now. I think I missed their part of the tell-all too. I just saw like the tail beginning of it, but she looked like she lost significant weight. And I just wonder if him saying that kind of messed with her mind a little bit. And I feel like that's sad. That's terrible. And I don't think that's okay at all. Who else do I have? Clayton and Annalie. Annalie, is he the hamster? He's the guinea pig guy. Oh my god. Before I started watching this season, I was hanging out with my girlfriends, and they were talking about it, and one of my girlfriends is like, oh my god, you have to watch this season. There is a guy who is obsessed with he has 1 million guinea pigs, and his mom lives in his closet. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. That's the podcast appropriate version of what I said. Shut up. She said, no, I'm serious. This man, so his plot line is his love of his guinea pigs. And Annalie is, gosh, I forget where she's from, but where she's from, guinea pig is a delicacy. So they kind of make it a huge thing to ask her that, which is like kind of weird if you think about it, because yeah, just because, you know, your country is known for eating something like weird that's like a pet in another country doesn't mean you ask that person, hey, have you ever thought of eating your fiance's dog because they serve it as a delicacy in your country? Like, no. It's like such a rude question, you know. So I feel like it's really weird that they keep asking her that, and that's like a thing. Yeah, his mom lives in his closet, and he is joined at the hip with her, and I think it's really weird that he wants to get married and have his mom and new wife and guinea pigs all live in a one bedroom together. So yeah, that's all I have on them. Last but certainly not least, one of my favorite couples, Gino and Jasmine. Gino has this fedora that he wears all the time. Jasmine is this gorgeous, I believe she's Brazilian, gorgeous woman, that doesn't see herself as beautiful as she is. She's really insecure. So her whole thing, first of all, I just want to say her purple sequined dress that she wore on the tell-all, that's my dream dress. Okay, that's something I would wear to a formal event. I loved it. She is over the top, and most of it stems from her being a little bit insecure and maybe a little bit hypocritical. We have to talk about, first of all, so Gino and Jasmine are engaged, and he gives her money to buy a wedding dress. Quite a bit of money in a third world country, by third world country standards for a wedding dress. I think it was like something like $7,000, which I feel like that's a good amount of money for a wedding dress in the United States. That's a lot of money. Anyway, so instead of buying this wedding dress that he gives her the money for, she takes it and gets herself a Brazilian butt lift instead. But also, here's the kicker, if I didn't already lose you with that part. The $7,000 he gave her didn't quite pay for all of the implants, so she borrowed $2,000 from her ex-boyfriend, and that's wow, that's a lot. We also have to talk about this lip gloss drama. So one of the episodes they were on, Gino is picking up Jasmine from the airport, and I think something. They're driving in his car, and she looks down and finds a lip gloss, and she picks it up and she's like, "Who the hell's lip gloss is this?" Because you know if it's your lip gloss, okay? And he's like, I don't know whose lip gloss it is. Maybe it was a coworker's. And at the tell-all, they're like, so do you still not know whose lip gloss it is? And he claims to not know whose lip gloss it is. And that just triggers Jasmine's insecurities. She thinks he's cheating on her. I mean, who wouldn't? That's a little ridiculous. Even if the answer was like, oh, I was taking my female coworker to lunch. Nuh-uh. That's not a good answer either. She loses her mind, starts aggressively crying. She's super over the top with her emotions. I think she loses it also at the tell-all. They play clips. They both had their own like bachelorette parties, and his is at the strip club, and he's got all these naked women dancing around him, and she loses her shit. Like, she just loses her mind. She is wailing backstage at this tell-all. Like, you can hear her screaming from off stage. Like, if I would have known you did that, I would have never married you. And it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I feel like if it made you that uncomfortable, it's something you would talk about beforehand. You know, like, hey, maybe, you know, don't have boobs in your face of naked girls, you know. But anyway, so that is my recap of the 90-day tell-all part 1. I love the 90-day. It's my bread and butter. It never ceases to disappoint, and I'll probably be back with part 2 next week, let's be honest. But I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, because I really enjoyed recapping it, to be honest. The mule is hitting right tonight, this Monday night. And as always, thank you for joining me this week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.